welcome back to another YouTube video. Right now we are enjoying with the views of Alicante. As you can see, let me show you what we have ahead of us. We have palm trees which are blocking the view of the pier, or let's just say where the boats are at. And as I'm having a cafecito que nunca falte, and my phone is on critical battery, I wanted to share a message with you guys. It's some reflecting that I've done this morning, and this is what I do every single morning. I wake up for myself to find myself. Now if you hear background noise and wind, is that there is wind and there is background noise evidently. But I was doing some reflecting this morning, and I started to realize that your environment is super important. The people that you're around, they'll either help you rise to the person that you want to become, or they will fill you with more doubts than the ones that you're already trying to fight. Now you need to understand that your environment, your friends, they've always had this vision of who you are. They've created this box, this visual representation of the things that you do, the person that you are. Now you behave in alignment with who they think you are, and the moment you step out of it, of this imaginary box, now you make people start to feel uncomfortable. That's when people start saying, why are you acting like this? This isn't like you. Now this is the thing, people condemn you to be this person. This is your identity. Now identity is a state of being. Identity is a choice. You get to choose who you are with the choices that you make every single day. That's what we are. We are human beings. So what are you being? What are you doing? And this can change whenever you want. Now understand, there isn't one reality. There are so many realities of who you are, and I want you to imagine yourself sitting on this table. So there's one person, two people, three people, four people. There is you. There is someone who's a drunk. There's someone who's a very successful person. There's someone who's a degenerate. Now all of these people, they are you. But what is the difference? The choices that each of them are making. Now you can be all of them. The moment you start to think differently, the moment it starts to influence your choices, starts to influence your actions, and your actions then become your habits, and your habits become your reality. Right now, just work backwards. Your reality is based on your habits are based on your actions, and your actions are based on your thoughts, which creates who you are. As you start to live this life the way I did, I felt so frustrated with the way that I was living. I've always been the black sheep of my family. Now, I've never just accepted things. For a simple thing, I'm the first person in my family to get tattoos, and I'm not saying, wow, tattoos is... Everyone has an opinion and a way of living. Everyone has their absolute truths. Now, I don't just accept things for what they are, and I don't just believe things just because I'm told to believe something. I question and I ask myself why. Because if you don't know why you believe the thing that you believe, then guess what? It's not your belief. And for so many years, I questioned everything that I was doing. Why does this have to be my reality if I see someone else living the life that I want? Why can't I attain it? And for so many years, I'd be so frustrated with things that I wanted to achieve, and I didn't have them. And for a long time, I realized that it wasn't the result that I actually wanted. It was the person that created that result is what I wanted to be. Because that's why we get frustrated. That's why we get this anxiety, because we project into the future whether we'll ever create this reality. But in reality, what we're actually anxious about is that, are we going to stop taking the action? Are we going to stop taking the action that's going to create this reality? That's the real question that we ask ourselves when we feel this feeling of being overwhelmed with anxiety. Now, the reason I go back to your environment being super important is because they will either push you to create that person, or they will judge you for being different, for not being you. And of course, as you start to behave differently, you're not being you, because to be someone you've never been, you have to do things that you've never done before. You are literally creating a new identity, and it feels weird. It almost feels like an act. That's why actors, when they play a new role in a movie, they get their play, and they have to live like that character to really get into role. And like I said, the different realities, the moment you start to think and act like that person, you are that person. It's just a matter of time before that result materializes from the actions that you do. And that's why your friends will either at the start say you're cringe, at the start they'll say, what are you doing? They start to judge everything that you're doing because they can't believe that you're actually changing. And it makes them very uncomfortable, because it shows them what they're refusing to do within themselves, and they want you to fail. That's the reality. The reason they want you to fail is because it makes them feel better for them not taking the risk that you are deciding to take. That's why at the start, people are going to laugh, people are going to make silly comments, people are going to judge you. But that's why it's only cringe until it works. And I realized this the hard way when I started creating content, and I really wanted to create content. When I wanted to be a coach, I really wanted to be a coach. But at the start, you're going to have these doubts because you don't even know the result, how it's going to end. You don't know how it's going to be, if you're even going to attain it. But guess what you need to focus on, what you can control, is making sure that you take the action and you do not miss. That's all you ever have to focus on, and that's why every single day I focus on taking the action that's going to get me there. And that's when people start to give their comments, give their opinions, and that's one thing I realized, and that changed my perspective on everything. Never listen to someone's opinion unless they have the result in the area of advice they're trying to give you. And that's when everything just became noise. Because I asked myself, would I trade places with this person? How can I go to someone who's never had a successful relationship for relationship advice? How can I go to someone who's never made money for advice about business? And that's how we most of the time go through our lives. So understand, people are going to make their things, but you can't let that sway you from the path that you're trying to take. The reason you can't let that sway you from the path that you're trying to take is because this is your vision. Only you can see it. They don't know where you're going, but you do. But the thing is, we're so easily influenced and moldable because the unknown is scary. But everything you know, you don't want that, which is why you decided to embark on this journey of self-development and become something better, something that you've never been before. Now understand, you need to stop people on a pedestal. Everything that you want, you can have also. But the issues, you put people on a pedestal. Where I am now, I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to be the person having this conversation with you now. And every time I see videos, I'm like, I must be nice. But I'd always put them on a pedestal. We're the same. The only thing that was different was our actions. The moment your actions align, you are the same person. You just have to keep on going. Now, this is the thing. Whenever you start something, at the start it seems stupid, but you keep on going. Because if you stop, you'll look back and you'll say, I can't believe. Do you remember that time when I wanted to create content? Or do you remember that time I went to the gym and I tried to put on muscle? But if you keep on going, you'll think, I can't believe that the younger me had the courage to do that, and now look at the life that I'm living. That's exactly what's happening today. I look back at the old pictures that I was going through my phone, and I was thinking, all of this happened because at the moment I had the courage to block out all the noise, remove all the fear, and take action. This is why I tell you guys that fear is a killer of the mind, because fear is just this negative projection of the future of what you think is going to happen. And the moment you remove fear, that's when you start to feel alive. And action is a killer of fear. But you know how you take action? By building confidence. And do you know what confidence is? It's evidence of how you validate yourself. That's the most important thing. Most of the time we live our life validating ourselves with the opinion of others. Oh, if I do this, will I be accepted? If I do this, will I be good enough? I lived my life long enough being the nice guy, trying to be validated by everyone else. Guess what? Because I never validated myself, I was so scared to. And the thing is, we're waiting for the right moment to build up this courage to feel confident. But confidence comes by doing the thing. It just gets a moment of time when you just have to take that leap of faith. Do you believe in yourself? And you block out the noise, and you complete, and you keep on repeating that same thing again and again. And guess what? That's how you build confidence, and that's how you build character. This is why I wake up at 5 a.m. because waking up at 5 a.m. is very uncomfortable. You create that same feeling now in a different situation, and now when you face that same feeling again in a different situation, you can now overcome it because you now have put the reps in. This is why I tell you guys, validate yourself with your actions that you do. Never validate yourself with a result. A result is uncontrollable. That's out of your own hand. But the action that you do to get there, that is in your control. That you can control. So that's what you have to validate yourself with. Ask yourself, have I done the necessary things for me to get to where I want to get to? Am I honest with myself? Have I tried my best? If the answer is yes, nothing can shake you. Why? Because you validated yourself with what you've done. And that makes you feel content and proud of yourself. That's why I have no fear. That's why whenever I feel afraid, fear is my compass. I go straight towards it. But most of you guys live your lives just wishing. Oh, I wish this happened. I really want this to happen. You need to stop wishing and start deciding more. Because wishing and feeling what you want is just going to create more frustration. It makes you feel entitled, because that's when you feel ungrateful. Because you want things, you need things. That's a feeling of lack. But when you start feeling this feeling of abundance and gratitude, that you have everything that you need, then guess what? You've already won, because you have everything. So every time you take action to get to where you want to get to, guess what? It's just an addition. You don't feel frustration because you have everything that you need. This is the way that you need to live your life by. So this is why your environment is so important, because you'll be molded by it. They will either make you by encouraging you to become that person, or they will break you, and eventually you'll end up falling to that environment. Like I said, it's very simple examples. Imagine you want to lift 100 kilos. Now this 100 kilos could be any goal that you want. And if you've always been in a gym where everyone lifts 50 kilos, well, as much as people can support you, they just can't believe it. And it makes them very uncomfortable, because now you're trying to say that you want to do something outrageous, something that they've never done before. Now, you're going to feel awkward, you're going to doubt yourself, you're going to think, is this even possible? Now, imagine you go to another gym where everyone lifts 300 kilos and you want to lift 100. What are the people in the gym that lift 300 kilos, what are they going to tell you? They're going to tell you, you only want to lift 100 kilos? Why not 200? Why not 300? It completely shifts your paradigm. And this is what you want. Because understand, at the end of the day, this is your life. We only have one chance in this human experience. Where we go after, we do not know. That's why now the most important thing for me is protecting that feeling, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We want this feeling. Because why do you want these materialistic things? At the end of the day, it's for a feeling. It's not for the materialistic thing in itself, it's that sense of achievement. So I just wanted to share that with you guys while I was here having el cafecito que nunca falte. They brought out something, I don't even know what this is. I didn't even try it because it has some weird little taste. We're having el cafecito right now, enjoying the views here in Alicante. We're blessed to be here. Let me know what was your biggest reflection. Put it in the comment section down below. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you are. And again, if you want to join the Mindset Mastery Room, this is every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. CET, where you have a lifetime access to a WhatsApp community of like-minded people. You get to ask me any questions in this group chat. We have a weekly live video call with myself and a private community. I mean, there's no better place to be. Love you guys. Let's go.